Hey everybody, happy Friday. Oh, sorry I'm late. So sorry I'm late. I took a big swig of a cup of tea that I made, and it was in a steel tumbler, and it was really hot. So I had to get some cold water. Crazy. Oh my gosh. So forgive me. Hey Holman's Homestead, good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. Hope the snow is melting and it's warmer. I'm going to see if it'll let me share my screen. Oh, it will, I think. I just want to see if it's working. Bear with me, guys. I just want to get this set up real quick because I was running late. I apologize. There we go. Bear with me one sec. Okay, I think I got it. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. So, yeah, so I apologize. I was running a little late. I had made myself a cup of hot tea and it sat there for a while in a steel tumbler, and stupid me thought it cooled off, and I took a big swig and then realized I burned my mouth. Duh. All brain power is out the window at this point with this kitchen thing. Hey, Holman's Homestead. Hey, about 6 acres. Hey, Rambling with the Brums. Good to see you, Scott. Hey, Craig Tim. Good to see you. Hey, Alfonso. Good to see you. Hey there, the Cow Emporium. Good to see you as well. Hope everybody's doing good. Yeah, ouch. So I quick went to grab some cold water to take a sip, and now I'll be a glutton for punishment, but I won't. Like, I took a drink like it was cold water. It was a bad idea. But sorry we had to cancel last week. Um, it's just, you know how it goes when you're working on stuff and it's getting late and you realize that it's just, you got to call it because it's just not working out. But we're almost done with the kitchen. It is down to the little stuff. We've got some trim pieces that, we put up. I'm sorry, that we had to paint. So we did that. We painted some trim. We also got some trim stained. And then, after the stain, we got to let it dry a day and do the urethane. So we're doing that. And today we ended up just going to Rapid City and spent several hours there. We got a new stove. Super excited because we've decided to convert to gas. So very excited. I grew up with natural gas in Queens, and I have not had any kind of gas stove since I lived with my parents. So I am super stoked. So they're coming Tuesday to put that in. So we went and got that today. And it's a funny thing how that happens because we plan to do electric. And Holman's, you know this because I had asked you questions about the newer stoves. And super excited because, mind you, we planned this kitchen around an electric stove. We planned a 30-inch stove, which was standard. And we did not plan to convert. We were not ready yet. We decided to wait. And so we planned this around an electric stove. When we got looking at stove prices, first of all, without boring you, there's glass top versus the burners. We do a lot of canning. We do a lot of food preservation. And I was worried about the new electric because they have the sensors on them now. I've been worried about them for years, actually. But now we got to the point of buying one, and we knew we couldn't do glass top. And I looked at a few that were rated, glass top rated for canning. And boy, they're pricey. So, anyway, how this came about was Mr. Yogi Hollow has been cooking on a Coleman camp stove since we've been without our stove, either the grill or the Coleman camp stove. And he's just like, we need to switch to gas because my eggs are fabulous and his hash and everything else he makes, right? So, yeah, so we got a gas stove and it's got a griddle in the middle, which is really exciting. I don't know if that'll be a good thing or a bad thing, but we're definitely giving it a shot and super excited. So, yes, love gas. I grew up with electric. Yeah, I grew up with well, we had natural gas, not propane. And so we were very excited to have that, but super exciting. So Tuesday, I will probably cancel the 7F goal setting live on my channel, and we'll probably just skip that week and go to the next week because the propane guys are coming to install in the morning. I don't know how long it's going to take, and Mr. Yogi Hollow Farm has some other obligations, so it'll be me here, and I just want to make sure that I give them my full attention. So that'll be exciting. Hey, Wendy at Hardneck Farms. Hey, about 6 acres. Good to see you guys. Hey, Broke Cowgirl. Homestead. Good to see you, Gwen. Hey, Bebabs. Good to see you. So yeah, Lisa Clovey is out partying tonight, so she's not going to be here tonight. I just want to get the stream up on my phone in case I need it real quick. And I'm sure you guys know why, so just bear with me a minute. Just because if I have any struggles, I don't have a moderator. There we go. So yeah, so real excited we got that. And then the other thing we ended up picking up was the barn door. So hey, Rebecca Suburban Hillbilly, good to see you. So right off our so we have a kitchen and then the dinette is at the other end of the kitchen. And then we have a doorway that goes to our laundry room and utility sink. Well, thanks for lurking, Rebecca. So, um, we end up having that there, and it has a toilet with the laundry with the washer and dryer. So, it's handy to have, but we haven't had a door on it because number 1, we have to leave the door open in the winter because we didn't care for the heater that was in there. So, we have to let heat get in there in the winter. But, so a barn door is gonna be great because I'll be able to close that area off when we need to. So, super excited. So, we gotta sand that, stain that, and all that stuff. So, we picked, like, a mission door. Um, so we're getting there. But I think Tuesday, once the stove is in, to me, that means the kitchen is done, even though there's little things. We can get through the rest of it from there. So, I think that that will be cool. So I think the last time we talked about what do you call it? We talked about being an ingredient household. And some folks asked me for a pantry list. And so I put this poll on my community page. There we go. I put this poll on my community page and everybody said they wanted it. So I said, let me just go over this. And so if you want to follow along, stain it. Well, we're going to stain it, but yes, it'll look old, but it'll also, I don't want to put too much out there because I actually want it to be a little bit of a surprise. The color we're staining it is going to bring the color out of other things. So very excited about it. But definitely it's going to look older and worn is our goal. So on my community page, I posted a little while ago, I posted the pantry list as pictures. So if you want to follow along, what I'm going to do is post that. I'm doing a short video. So it'll definitely be a short once the kitchen is done. Hey Wendy, hope you're doing well. Um, of the remodeling process because Tammy at Mountain Grandma, you know her. If you're on our 7F Live, she's always telling me, "Are you gonna do a video on that?" And I told her that's all I could commit to. It's, Gwen, isn't the right color without the stain. I know what you're saying, and I really appreciate it, but it's not. It's a very light pine color, and I want it a lot darker. So we're going to look at that. But let me just go to this real quick, but I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see if I can share this. Copy. Let me go back. Bear with me one sec. So here's the post, and I'll pin it if I can, if it'll let me. Jeez. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to get it to pin. It won't let me pin it. I just put the link in, and that's the link to the Pantry Staples list that I made. And so I'm going to show you all that. I wanted walnut everything. I totally understand that. Let me just go back up. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't think if I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. I don't see that I've missed anyone. Okay, so here, now keep in mind, this is based on my household. Everybody's household's going to be different. So I know Wendy, I don't know if Wendy eats vegan or if it's vegetarian, so forgive me if I get it wrong, but I know Wendy eats things that perhaps other people might not have. And, it goes down the line because everybody eats different things. So I'm going to see if I can make this just a little bigger. Hang on a minute. I got to go up and down here. Okay, that's a good start. Hey, Qualky, good to see you. Oh, okay, vegan. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me, Wendy. So for pantry staples for us, like for oil and vinegar, I tried to put it in categories. We're always going to have extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil. We try to buy that in bulk. And lard and tallow. So lard we always have obviously from our pigs, or if we purchase local pigs, local pork, we get that. But also tallow. We've been getting tallow for from our local beef and rendering it, which has been really good. Balsamic vinegar and red and white wine vinegar are good to have on hand because we often add those to recipes. We do liquid aminos. I didn't put that down there because I didn't feel it was a quote unquote I had to have. But like I said, this list is not completely 100%. This is just stuff I have to have. Of course, we're going to have other stuff. Let me just go back and fix this because I can see it takes a bit to get to it. I guess I got to back it out. Oh, I got a spelling error. Yeah, you're gonna see I do have soy sauce. I have soy sauce. I just have it listed separately because I couldn't live without it either. Um, so I also have white vinegar because I can't live without white vinegar because I use it to make a lot of raw milk, like cheeses and things like that. And also, apple cider vinegar is also a staple that must be had. And then the last one that you can't see is rice wine vinegar because we like to eat Asian cooking, so we always have that on hand. Now, we also have on hand things like mirin, and soy and all that stuff, but we always have it, in fact, I had a dear friend send us a bunch and we still have it, which is really cool. And now I need to look for another place that I can get it at. But you get the picture. It's not completely comprehensive. This is just like the basic stuff, if that makes sense. Let me see what the next one is. Hey, Rochelle Brampton Gardner, good to see you. So here is, I'm going to zoom it out. Oh, I can't. Why is this doing this? Bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to. All right, maybe that worked better. Yep. Hey, Rochelle Brampton Gardner, good to see you. Qualky said tallow. Can you buy tallow from your local butcher? Blah, 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 blah. Yes, yes, we can. When we get beef processed, we tell them we would like the tallow, the suet, the beef suet, and then we render it down. So under condiments, like I said, I tried to just categorize it. So honey is a must-have here because I go through a lot of honey and maple syrup, and it's got to be real maple syrup, always. Ketchup, mayonnaise. So I have tried so many homemade mayonnaise recipes and I just don't like them. I just don't like them. So I'm still buying mayo. I'm being very cautious about, where I get it and what's in it, but I still buy it. Mustard, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce is something I absolutely love. I feel it's an underutilized condiment in my opinion, but I absolutely love it, especially on chicken fried steak. Oh, so good. Fake syrup is illegal. It is. Making mayo is a pain in the donkey butt. I just don't like the way it tastes. I love me my Hellmann's. They started with the bioengineer, then they stopped it, I think, because they responded to the outpouring of disgust. But I'm still very careful what I get. Barbecue sauce. We usually make homemade barbecue sauce. I love the rhubarb barbecue sauce. So that's been something I've been making and canning. And then I put this under condiments, but again, it's just a list. Peanut butter or peanut butter powder. I have a can of peanut butter powder, so you just add water to it. What I like about it is there's good ingredients in it compared to some of the peanut butters out there. So I try to make sure, number one, you have to be really careful with xylitol if you have a dog in peanut butter because they've been sneaking it in under other names and it can kill your dog. So you have to be really careful. I try to buy all natural. I like Jif, but again, I have peanut butter powder as well. Let me just go back to that. Let's do the next page. Yeah, that's what we do, 100% PB. I agree. Fish sauce is so underutilized, and I think it's because of the name, because it's fish sauce. It sounds horrible, but then when you taste it, it's not as gross as it sounds. So for baking, for me, I always have all-purpose flour, unbleached, organic. I buy a 50-pound bag. I would like to get more fresh milled. The first thing I tried to fresh mill was Durham. Probably wasn't my best choice. Thanks to my friend Annette at the Cow Emporium, told me I needed to split it with all-purpose flour next time. So I'm going to try that. Sugar's another thing. I like the natural cane sugar, but I admit sometimes the budget allows for the white processed stuff, so I go with that. Baking powder. Hey, Penny Ortiz, good to see you. Baking powder is important to have on hand. Baking soda and cocoa powder. I love organic cocoa powder. Yeast, cornmeal, cornstarch, and vanilla extract. In fact, I absolutely have, I bought vanilla beans locally at our bulk pop-up store, and I bought bourbon, and I'm gonna be doing vanilla extract. So I'll have it next year. I'm gonna let it sit for 12 months. Any questions so far? I'm just curious. Fresh mill some dried corn on the cob this year to make your own cornmeal. That's a good idea. Do I let it dry on its own, or should I dehydrate it or freeze dry it? I'm curious. Like, do I remove it through the off the cob? Brampton Gardner said, I went through my cupboards and reorganized them. I had 5 different kinds of curry powder. Yeah, we had a lot of that too. A lot of that. You can't find it, and then you put it on the list and you go buy it and you have another one. And so when I got that new spice rack, that was one of the things that I did was I took all the extras that wouldn't fit in the jars and put them in the pantry. And I said, we're going to the pantry first, and if it's not in the pantry and it's not in the spice rack, then we can buy it. Hi, Lisa, Frank, Lisa, and Susan. Thank you. I hope you guys are having a good time. I told them you had off tonight. I hope you're having fun. I told them you were out partying. That's why you couldn't be here. That's awesome. I love it. I'm going to try to zoom out. I'd be happy just to have a small garden. Again, goals, right? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But I need them there for different ethnic foods, Indian, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Japanese, Korean, and Thai. Well, then there's nothing wrong with that then if you've got that many curry powders. You could freeze dry it. I blanch the cobs and cut them to a 1/2 inch, then dehydrate the tiny cob cuts. Leave them on the tiny cob cuts and put them in the jar. Okay, I'm gonna, ooh, that did not go well. Let's see if I can do that again. Awesome. Thank you, Annette. Oh, I'm glad, Lisa, you're having a good time. Have fun. Don't worry about us. Go have fun. I'm reliving my burned mouth every time I take a sip here. Oh, yeah, organizing everything, trying to group them by ethnicity. Perfect. Perfect. Rebecca at Suburban Hillbilly said, Lisa, hey there, and go party. So for canned goods, I've got like pasta and rice, beans for like chili or soup. I am not a bean person. I'll eat them. I'm not a fan. But I will eat them. But, again, beans are really good to have in your pantry. And even for me who doesn't care for them, I have a ton of beans in my pantry. Um, Tomatoes are something that we home can quartered. We quarter them, and then that way we always have a jar of canned tomatoes that are very versatile to make into use as diced tomatoes, make sauce out of, anything like that. Bone broth, chicken, beef, pork, turkey, pheasant. We like to home can. We like to have tuna fish on hand. That's for us. We like tuna. We don't have tons of it, and we try to buy the good stuff. Breadcrumbs, we make from sourdough and season it. So what I do is I bake 2 loaves of sourdough, and I cut them into cubes, and I freeze dry them. And when they're completely freeze dried, I put them into a blender, grind them into breadcrumbs, and then I add Italian seasonings and mix them together. And then I leave some jars plain because that works for us. What I like is the homemade breadcrumbs. I don't make them as fine as the store-bought ones. Like, the store-bought ones are very fluffy. Mine are more like the panko. So I find that you get a lot crispier on the outside. Hey, busy you. Good to see you. I hope beans last forever. They pretty much do, is my understanding. Definitely. Lisa Colovi partied up for Annette at the Cow Emporium. She's stuck at home calving in bad weather. Rochelle says we have tuna, mackerel, sardines, canned chicken, and spam. I love spam. Spam, eggs and spam. If you remember Monty Python. I like spam too because I had it when I was a kid. That's what we ate camping. String up hot peppers and let them air dry in a warm spot for your stir fries. Nice. Obviously crackers and snacks. For us, crackers and cheese is usually a quick snack. Otherwise we don't have a ton of snacks. Sometimes we'll have chips or something like that, or but as the bio and engineered ingredient label becomes more popular, there's less coming in here. Let's see. Obviously, coffee. I could not live without coffee, and tea. Definitely something you want to have. Gwen says the one and only time I bought and used panko breadcrumbs, they were like eating rocks. Never again. I love panko. Oh my god, I love it. I get it though, Gwen. Pan fried spam on a tomato sandwich come summer. That's a My mom wouldn't buy spam. She bought the cheap treat meat. We had the treat stuff too. I get it, Rebecca. I totally get it. Have a good weekend, Holman's Homestead. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Also think of like nuts and dried fruits and stuff like that. And obviously, again, everybody's gonna have a different list of things. So it's not like one universal. So this was just ideas of where to start, was the reason why I did it. Let's see here. Do to do. Okay. Ooh, jeez. Okay, so continued in the pantry. We store our potatoes in the pantry. So like we'll buy potatoes from the store, or if we grow them, we have them in the pantry. If we grow them, we usually do something with the whole harvest because it won't last forever in the pantry. But when we buy them, we store them in the pantry, and they usually last a good enough amount of time. We use them up. Onions, we do frozen and freeze dried. So for us, they're in our pantry with the freeze dried. And then garlic, we do frozen peeled cloves that we vac seal. We grow it and then we peel them, vac seal them, put them in the freezer, and it works really well. Hey, Troy Sutton, good to see you. As for spices and herbs, Redmond salt is something we always have. Pepper and peppercorns, and then a variety of spices you regularly use and like. That's really important, to have stuff that you really like. If you buy a spice and you don't like it, don't keep it. See if you can give it to somebody, but don't waste your time keeping it. It is such a waste of your space, quite honestly. Have I freeze dried potatoes yet? Yes, we have freeze dried hash browns. We have freeze dried, diced, sliced, shredded, and mashed. Because we don't have a good place to store if we grow potatoes. I'm probably not going to grow them again this year. That'll be the second year. But previously, we took the whole harvest, and that's all I did was freeze dry it. You do have to cook them a little till they're fork tender and all that kind of thing. But yes, absolutely. I prefer them freeze dried. I will never can potatoes again. I do not like the taste of canned potatoes. They're mushy and they taste funky. Freeze dried, they taste like they just came out of the dirt. They're amazing. Also found 3 packs of fennel. I never used fennel. I'm going to try and plant them to see if they're viable. Yeah, I found fennel seed and I was trying to think, why do we even have it? But we had it for sausage that we made. Italian sausage that we made with the pork. And I was like, because I was trying to think, why do I have fennel? Because I don't care for it. We buy raw nuts at Costco and roast in the air fryer. So good. I like salty, warm nuts. Thanks, Rochelle. Hey, and Philbeck, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Did you make the shredded hash browns to freeze dry? Sorry, I can't remember. Yes, I made shredded potatoes so that way we could put them in a jar, add water, and reconstitute them on our way to go ice fishing. And then we could drain them and cook them on the griddle on the ice. That was why I made them. So good. So good. But we often do that. We'll take freeze-dried potatoes. We've taken it and like pan fried, reconstituted and pan fried them. Other times we've just added them to a dish and they were just really good. The mashed potatoes are fabulous. Like I admit, the first time I did it, I added butter and milk. And quite honestly, moving forward, I won't do that again because you can just take the potatoes, cook them, mash them, and then freeze dry them, which is a longer shelf life because it doesn't have the fat in it. Then what you can do is pulverize it with a blender or food processor, put it in a jar, and then when you take it out, you boil some water and just pour a little bit in there until you get it to the texture you like. Some people like creamier potatoes, some people like stickier potatoes, so to speak. And then you add the butter and the milk then. I like it that way better. I've learned. You're welcome, Net. So for herbs, obviously similar to the spices, you want varieties that you like. What we do is we freeze dry whatever herbs we grow. So for example, like parsley, last year was a killer parsley year. I'm not even growing parsley this year, or oregano or basil because I have so much right now. And I know I just let me use what I have. So I'm going to focus on growing some other herbs and see what I can get. And then that way I can use that room in a limited garden, which makes sense for me. The other thing is mustard seed is handy for making mustard. And then celery seed, we like for meat stock because of the flavor it provides. So even though I throw celery in my bone broth and my stock and all that, I always throw some celery seed in because I really like the flavor. I'm not a fan of canned potatoes either, so we'll look for other options of preserving. Yeah, canned potatoes are not something I'm sorry that I did it. It really was, ooh, I can't even begin to tell you. It's really sad when a Walmart brand can of potatoes tasted better than my home canned potatoes. And all it was water and salt. So they just had a funky flavor. Same thing with the carrots. I will not eat canned carrots either. Let's see here. Let me go to the next one. Does anybody have any questions? So for dairy, obviously milk and cream, you can freeze if you desire. You can freeze your milk if you want. Butter, I tend to make and freeze. Yogurt, I make. Mozzarella, I make and freeze. Cheddar, we usually buy 5 pounds locally, and then we vac seal it in smaller blocks. So we have it for recipes, and it works out really well. And then obviously cream cheese, sour cream, those are things we like to have on hand. I can carrots and don't like those either. Yeah, I don't either. It's a weird taste. I don't know how to describe it. Weird taste. Although I should put down, my friend makes the best caramel from whey, and I bought a jar last week, and I'm gonna need to buy another jar, and it's addicting because I've got it in my tea, and, oh, it's the best. The best. The best. Hands down. So addicting. Alright, let's see what we got here. Just gonna get this. It's not metallic, it's gosh, Rochelle, I don't even know how to describe it. I can tell you this, the carrots and the potatoes both have an off taste. Um, it's like an aftertaste. Like, you eat a potato and it's kinda mild and it takes on the flavor of the butter and the cream. Even when you make these mashed you take canned potatoes and make mashed out of them, which is what we did, so we didn't waste them. It's just an off-putting taste, um, aftertaste. It's funky. So, for us, we have the freeze dryer, but this could go for, refrigerated, frozen, dehydrated, you name it, okay? But this is some of the things freeze-dried that we insist upon, and that is diced onions, freeze-dried are a must-have here. We use them all the time, and why? We don't have to run to the store to get an onion for a recipe. We're always cooking with an onion, and quite honestly, you're gonna think I'm crazy. Onions sometimes don't sit well with us as we've gotten older, and yet freeze-dried onions never bother us. So they're a must-have. Celery is another thing. If a recipe calls for 2 stalks of celery, I take the rest of it and I freeze dry it. Carrots, I will freeze dry as well. I love to have them on hand because I throw the celery and the carrots. They can go into soups, they can go into bone broth, meat stocks, all that kind of thing. Fruit is another one. Sometimes fruit in this house will sit on the counter, it'll go bad. And so what we do is we freeze dry it because that way when we eat it, it's freeze dried and we'll eat it. And we don't have to worry about it going bad. It's kind of like a strong peel flavor, even though they don't have peels. Interesting. That's probably a good way to describe it. Mushrooms are another must have. Freeze-dried mushrooms. I purchased a case of mushrooms. I bought a ton of shiitake. I got a ton of regular mushrooms, portobello, freeze drying them. I love having them on hand. If we want to make ramen, I can just throw them in the broth. If we want to make Salisbury steak, we throw them in the gravy. I mean, it's that quick and they're a must have. And again, freeze drying herbs. Got to have freeze dried herbs. Must have. All right. Thanks to Lisa, I wasn't afraid to dehydrate mushrooms when I found them on sale. Yes, dehydrate them. Absolutely. I thought it would be weird and I thought they would get funky freeze dried. And I said, let's just do it. And we did it with, I think, white mushrooms that we got on sale. And we had barely enough to do the freeze dryer, the full freeze dryer load. And then that was it. Once I had them with Salisbury steak, we started getting shiitakes and all that kind of stuff. Amazing. Did my mushrooms grow? I'm not growing any mushrooms now. I was growing oyster mushrooms last year. And the first out of a bag, the first batch grew and it was beautiful. After that, the rest did not grow well. I was kind of bummed. But I still would recommend them because we got a lot from the first flush of mushrooms. crazy. But the oyster mushrooms are so good. So good. Okay, that's the best I can do there. Um, I'm a fan of frozen food. You don't have to agree with me. That's why we have a lot of freezers, and I also know that that could set us up for disaster, but we do like frozen veggies very much compared to any other way. So any of the garden veggies we grow, we do blanch and freeze or freeze depending on what it needs to. So for example, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, we're going to blanch those and freeze them. We do have backup plans for our freezers that have worked beautifully so far. I do realize at some point that could be an issue, but we really do like having frozen food. Yes, you are, Annette. I'm your biggest fan of frozen food. Garden veggies. My goal every year from the garden is to fill our small freezer full of garden frozen veggies, and we have not bought frozen veggies from the store. Be 2 years now. So almost this year will be the third. So really like that. Also meat. We buy half a cow usually. I think we bought a quarter cow because we were a little overwhelmed with what we had. So we bought a quarter cow this year. We're on the list for next year. We bought a half of a quarter, I should say we shared a quarter of a bison with somebody. We have our own pork, which we're running out of, but now we have 2 that will go into the freezer the end of this year, probably December, November, December. And then let's see here. Chickens, we have meat chickens arriving, I think in April, and then the turkeys are arriving in March, which I agreed to it, but I'm kind of like, I don't like getting turkeys in March because they're kind of finicky. And then obviously we have had pheasants, we've had duck before, and we purchased lamb locally from a friend of mine who has the most amazing lamb ever. And so we buy her lamb and we like to keep that in the freezer. So for us, there's been no meat purchasing since I think it's 21 from the store. Everything has been local farms or raised here. Casseroles are another thing that we love to do. Casseroles are like pre-making squash casseroles, making a cheddar broccoli soup. Things like that are so good to have in the freezer because they make your life easier. Don't side-eye Norman. I've always said, Rebecca, if needed to, if it push came to shove, I would eat Norman. However, I think Norman is now safe from that. Norman serves a very important purpose here. I know that it's, we laugh, we joke because he was, for those of you who've been here a long time, right? Norman was supposed to be a meat pig, turned into our little runt who I decided was so much fun because we had to keep bringing him in the house and he was so much fun to play with when it was so cold. But yeah, Rochelle at Brampton Gardner used to tell me all the time, used to message me on Instagram and say, get Norman's room ready. It's getting cold. He's my emotional support pig, but he's also the companion to our boar. Normie. He's so fun. He's such a good pig. Chopped leeks, that goes with the veggies, garden veggies. I don't know why I added that on there. But chopped leeks, I mean, I just love taking the leeks and washing them and chopping them and freezing them. I've got a ton. I plan to grow more leeks this year if I ever get my butt in gear to start them. And then obviously fruit frozen is also a good option for us. I freeze leftovers for Sid's lunches. That's awesome. And then they defrost. Ooh, excuse me. I love taking a leak. I know I need to start my leeks. I gotta get dirt. I looked in town, I couldn't soil. I looked for soil in town, I couldn't find any. I gotta go to the hardware store. I'll admit I looked at the dollar store. So I gotta I happened to be in the dollar store looking for something, so I was like, "Oh, I'll look for seed starting," but yeah. I will, I gotta get them going. My backup is I'm gonna go to the, greenhouse in town and see if I can get more leeks already grown. Just get regular old like, potting soil, the net. I'm about to get some potting soil. And I saved your post, so I'm gonna look at it. I need to start my onions, but hadn't washed my hair, so I had to wait. Rochelle, you always keep me on my toes. I'm trying to figure out what one has to do with the other. Going to try and snail roll, got it. Potting soil, gotta be tough to live around here. Yes, that's for sure. I like your thinking. I'm gonna get potting soil. That I have, so I can do that. I can do that. I've never had luck with onions from seed, but I'm definitely gonna try the leeks. I bought, leeks from Harvey's last year, and I'm gonna try and fill one tray and see what I can do. I have to film it. You are so funny. So that's all I have. So I was thinking, like, what are some of the things that, like, you guys would add to your list? Like Rochelle, I know, has a lot of ethnic foods that she makes. And so, or she might add fresh milled flour or certain ethnic ingredients. And I think that's real important to have. And the same thing with Annette. I know Annette likes a lot of Asian cooking. And so she would have a larger section of that kind of thing. Gwen, we know, will not have panko. She said it was like eating rocks, but she'll have a lot of something else, right? Too much castor oil in my hair. Oh, Rochelle, you are too funny. Give Dexter a hug for me. So, what's something you would add to your pantry that I didn't mention or you might do differently? I'm kind of curious. I'm glad my tea cooled off. Oh, that is so good. I wore him out on our walk. Yeah, he looks so cute with his little Dollarama booties. So adorable. Rochelle said coconut milk. Awesome. Busy You said popcorn, pickles, jams, and jellies. Awesome. Annette at the Cow Emporium said having a large amount of herbs to season food, bland food is so boring. Absolutely. I love popcorn. I love popcorn. My teeth do not like popcorn. It makes me crazy. Hey, Chris and Larry Homestead, good to see you. Um, Rochelle said pasta and lentils. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you have to make it what you eat, right? So that list maybe is our list, but it has nothing to do with how you eat. You know what I mean? Tons of spices and sauces. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very cool. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's just a jumping off list. So you can take it from there and make it your own, right? Make it your own because that's what it's all about because everybody's household is going to be different. I know that we'd like to get more into fresh milled flour um, as we move forward. Right now, I'm going to try and use up the large bag of flour I bought before I get to that point. So I can have a mix on hand. Rochelle says depends on what's on sale at Costco. Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You have to be able to do it and do it within budget. And that's the beauty of it is like you can stock up your pantry one little bit at a time by buying like one extra when it's on sale, you know? Ketchup, mustard, steak sauce, Busy You said. That's awesome. Yes, steak sauce is good. I had A1 steak sauce on a hamburger, and then I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one from Canada. Annette, you know the name of it. It was a steak sauce. That was really good too. Rochelle said we have a business center. Now I got a 2-gallon bucket of pesto, so portion and froze. Awesome. A business center. That must be like bulk. Huh. HP steak sauce. That's good. Thank you, Annette. Um, Troy said, I always make sure I have homemade freeze-dried cream of anything and Alfredo mixes. Awesome. Awesome. We have too much stockpile trying to eat through it. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I'm not laughing at you, Rebecca. Suburban Hillbilly, that is brilliant because you have to have dog and cat food. They rule the house. We usually buy a very large bag. We usually buy one or two um from the dog food store at a time, and that's usually a couple months. Today I was kind of bummed because I went to buy a bag because I really don't need to go to Rapid except for this project, right? So we went today and I went to buy dog food and they didn't have Diesel's food in the large bags. Hey Dana, good to see you. Thanks for being here. They didn't have the large size bag, which worries me, number one, because he's on a limited ingredient diet because of his allergies. It's duck and pear. And it's grain free and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to have to switch him because he's done amazing on this food. Oh, good to see you, Dana. It's awesome. So yeah, so we definitely no, I think it's a great idea. You have to have that. We need to make stuff with pickles. Our neighbor gave us 2 buckets of dill pickles. Oh, that's wild. Yeah, we don't have a Costco here. I think the closest one is, I could be wrong, but I thought somebody said to me that the closest Costco is Montana or Minnesota. We have Sam's. Yeah, 50-pound dog food a week. Yeah, I only have one dog and he's old. He's 11, going to be 12, so he doesn't go through a lot. He doesn't go through a ton. But yeah, it's like, trying to get what do you call it? Get his food. I had to get a smaller bag and I was kind of bummed because it's a lot more money when you have to buy small. You have a bunch of dogs though, don't you, Chris? I only have a bulldog who's pretty lazy, so he doesn't get much and he's going to be 12 in June. So Gizmo's bag of food lasts forever. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Diesel's at the age where you have to, well, we always watched his weight, right? Because people love to feed English bulldogs. They love to feed them. But it's not good for them because they have really bad joints and stuff. So yeah, I know I knew you meant Dexter, Rochelle. I knew you meant it. Don't worry, I've been there. Um, so yeah, so he's limited, He gets I think he gets 2 cups a day, so I have 4, 3 of them are 100-pound plus LGDs. Yeah, that's exactly. They're burning it off. They're big dogs. We've got a lazy bulldog. Dexter free feeds. It's crazy. He just grazes. That's cool though. It is crazy because I've never had a dog that just sat there and left it that grazed. I've always had it where he would eat everything if he got to it. Hey, Charles of Bushcraft, what's up? What's up? He is skinny. He's a skinny little guy, but he's adorable. He's in great shape. Dexter's like fit. He's a fit dog. Diesel's at a good fighting weight. He's at like 60 pounds now. He's at that older age where he's not gaining weight and stuff. He'll just stay right there, you know. In fact, he dropped like 3.5 pounds from when he was there, I think 2 years ago. So Whiskey, my little gal, gets special food. Aw, cute. So any questions on the pantry list? I'm just curious. Do you guys have any questions or things you might want to add before we get going here? And if you have any ideas for topics moving forward, I am certainly open. Oh, thanks, Annette. Smash the thumbs up for Lisa. Thank you. Rochelle said we went for a longer walk having a heat wave. It was 41. That's cool. We were in the 50s here today. And I mean 50s at home. And being in Rapid City, it was like almost 60. It was so warm. I couldn't believe it. I was hot and I had a t-shirt on under my sweatshirt. It was hot. And it felt so good. Rebecca said my Yorkie is either 18 or 19. Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming tonight. I appreciate y'all being here. And thank you, Charles at Bushcraft, for sending people over. But thanks for being here, everybody. Hope this was helpful. And have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.